How you doing?
Great.
Okay, that's cool. There were a couple moments this week that I thought, I think what I thought was, what I hear myself saying that I thought was, I can't take this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And just want to go and shut down and not engage. And yet I personally am not called to do that. I am called to stay engaged. And I think a lot of you are as well. And the way that we can stay engaged in the most healthy manner for us is to disengage for a little bit. We need to tag team each other, right? It's like, okay, I can do this for an hour, and then can you come in because I need to go take a nap? Or whatever it is, a day, whatever. And of course, like many, many of you, when it does come to be pretty intense, I am driven to go even more inward, to go more into the silence, into the stillness, to listen, to know. This week happened to be, for those of you that noticed, I put out a midweek e-blast newsletter. Wednesday was World Day of Prayer. I think it was Wednesday. Unity's World Day of Prayer. 32 years of unity in and of itself is based on prayer and healing. It was the whole formation and the foundation of Myrtle and Charles Fillmore. Beginning with Myrtle's healing from tuberculosis, when she went into prayer after she had been told that the doctors couldn't do anything more for her. And she attended a spiritual seminar where she heard the words, "You're a child of God, therefore you can't be sick." Now, yes, her physical body was sick, but her spiritual body was not. Our spiritual body is never anything but perfect and whole. And she took time every day. She set up a chair for herself, she set up a chair for Jesus, and she forgave every single cell in her body. She went deep into prayer and meditation, and she did become healed of tuberculosis. And Charles, her husband, watched this. I know many of you know this story. And he watched what was happening. And he had had a skating accident. We're talking this was in the late 1800s. And Charles's skating accident had been when he had been a young teenager. And he had a withered leg. And he did, through prayer and forgiveness of his body and his being, greatly regenerated his leg. I understand it was not 100%, but he greatly regenerated his leg. These people had that deep, abiding faith in the one presence and one power. And through that experience of prayer and meditation, Myrtle invited people to pray with her every evening at 10 p.m. from their own homes. Not coming together in collective, but just chose a time to be in the consciousness of prayer together. That was the beginning of unity. That was the beginning of silent unity, the 24/7, 365-day prayer ministry that is the very essence of unity. We are steeped in prayer, in affirmative prayer, not beseeching prayer. Please, dear God, help me. but coming into that understanding and that power within us that we are connected to the one presence and one power. Therefore, we pray in the affirmative. I pray knowing that this nonsense shall pass. Don't know when, don't know how. But along the way, we are learning valuable lessons if we pay attention. And I have a lot of my own personal theories, which I'm not going to bother you with here on this platform. But we have a lot of growing up to do. Let me just say that. We have a lot of spiritual growing up to do. And coming into the awareness of one presence and one power. So the way through is the stillness. And this was the affirmation for World Day of Prayer this week. While everything else was going on in the world, at Unity Village, outside of Kansas City, Missouri, on campus, on the grounds, as we used to always call it, hundreds of people and hundreds of thousands of prayers were being lifted up. Now, at the same time that we go into the stillness, we also listen for divine guidance on what else is ours to do. The Fillmores held that faith of holding the light. At that point in time, in the late 1800s, and Unity was formed in 1898, the healings had taken place earlier in the 1890s. They weren't really big into social action themselves. And as Unity has evolved, and we as a humanity have evolved, there are many of us in Unity that are very involved in social action. Many people hold to that original teaching because that is what they are called to do. Many others of us are held and called to do both, to pray and move our feet. And only you, in your relationship with the God of your understanding, can know what is yours to do. But I do ask you, whatever it is, to let it be lifted up in the light, to raise the vibration of love. And I don't know where I saw it this week, but I saw an image of a lighthouse and a boat in a storm coming, around the lighthouse. And it was, we could either be the lighthouse or we could be the boat in the storm. And so we get to choose. And maybe, we tag team, right? And that's so cool and so okay. We are not here to do it alone. Make sure I do the right one. Okay. So I always ask myself, what is mine to know? What is mine to do? And who am I here to be? What is Holy Spirit calling me? How? If I am what I prefer to do, and I will admit, I don't do this every morning. I wake up with thank you in my mind. That's my first consciousness. Just, thank you. Just thank you. And if I'm really paying attention in those moments of silence, is asking this first question. What is mine to know today? What is mine to know? To stay in that silence, stay in that stillness. Do not pick up your phone. Do not pick up your tablet. Do not turn on your computer or your TV. Give yourself a minute and connect with Source. What is mine to know? What is mine to do? And then who am I here to be? And for that day, it may be something very, very minor. It might be get up and go clean off the dining room table of all the paperwork and the mail that you keep throwing there. Whatever it may be, go clean out your sock drawer. An Al-Anon sponsor used to say there's always a sock drawer to be cleaned out. Even if it's one small thing that you can do, go do it and do it the best that you can. If you can't give up that one random argyle of that pair that you have loved for years, then God bless you, hold on to it. Let that be enough for today. Right? But follow your heart. Pay attention to what lifts you. So these were the questions, the reflection questions that were asked this week for World Day of Prayer. How can you commit to making stillness a daily practice, even if it feels challenging? And from Myrtle Fillmore, her healing letters, peace, be still, be still, be still. God in the midst of you is substance. God in the midst of you is love. God in the midst of you is wisdom. Let not your thoughts be given to lack, but let wisdom fill them with the substance and faith of God. Now I have a little aside here. I was going to try and have it available, but I didn't make it happen today. So, and because we're on YouTube, I think YouTube would have allowed it, but so I didn't get to put the video up. And it's a Facebook reel. If you happen to follow Cheyenne on Facebook, where were you?
This last one, Shasta, with the spring. I was in Shasta.
You were in Mount Shasta.
Yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Wow.
If you're not on Facebook, just get on Facebook long enough to go check her out. I wanted to play this for you.
Oh.
And she was going to be so surprised. She is sitting by a spring on Mount Shasta.
Not on Mount Shasta, but in
the area.
Yeah.
You were at Shasta.
At a place called the Sacred Fire.
The Sacred Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And she is just singing this most beautiful song. And whoever you had filming for you.
My friend Christian.
Oh my goodness. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, for those of you in YouTube world, Cheyenne Hernandez on Facebook. It will feed your soul. I just sat and I felt so blessed and so filled. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Be still, be still, be still. Allow for the healing around you. God in the midst of you is wisdom. Let not your thoughts be given to lack or to fear, but let wisdom fill them with the substance and faith of God. That is the truth of our being. That is who we are. And the more that we remember that, we can have that we can have all of that energy lift us up and be a blessing not only for ourselves but for the world. The second reflective question, what messages of wisdom or guidance might be waiting for you in the stillness? And the quote that was given was Charles Fillmore. When you are still and know that God is within, you are then open to receive all that God has for you. To just allow for the peace, even if you're moving around. Allow that stillness to be in you no matter where you are in any given moment. How has time spent in stillness empowered you to move through life with greater clarity, courage, and purpose? From Lessons in Truth, Emily Cady. We go apart into the stillness of divine presence that we may come forth into the world of everyday life with new inspiration and increased courage and power for activity and overcoming. We go apart into the stillness of divine presence that we may come forth into the world of everyday life. And what does it mean to you to be still and to know? And how might you allow the infinite to reveal deeper truths in your lives? E.V. Ingraham, The Silence. Be still and know is a clear command to let the mind rest from its own activities and record knowledge that the infinite waits to reveal. The knowledge is there waiting for you to tap into it. The wisdom is yours. I brought my mask that I have in my house that is just my buddy. And I worked for Unity of Palo Alto, managed the bookstore there for 7 years, and I had these as part of our inventory, and I just love her so much. It's just that reminder of shh, peace be still, peace be still. And from last week's slides, this is where peace comes in. Not peace because everything is fine, but peace because we refuse to let cruelty define our own vibration. Right? We know that in the physical world, right now, everything is not fine. There are a lot of things that are very fine. There are many things that to be grateful for. There's a lot of good news out in the world. I could share some of that good news with you, but even to share that good news would kind of re-traumatize you, reminding you of the not so good news that the good news came out of. So ask me about it later. There's so much to be grateful for. There's so much. Do not let the cruelty define your vibration. So, I want to share with you another piece. So if you, eyes open, eyes closed, just become still. And let me share this reading by Angel Deere. It's called One Day. One day, in some far-off future, children will gather around fires and ask their elders, "Tell us what it was like back then, when the world was unraveling, when the waters rose, when the forests burned, when people forgot the old ways." And the stories will not be about kings, billionaires, or presidents. They will not be about who had the biggest stage, the loudest voice, or the largest army. The stories will be about you, about us. Ordinary women and men who prayed when it was unfashionable, who meditated not for performance, but for survival of the soul, who researched at night while the world slept, who carried grief and hope in equal measure, who kept searching for truth even when every system told them to stop asking questions. Yes, we were mocked. Yes, we were rejected. Yes, sometimes even our own families turned their backs. But deep down we knew what called us was older than empire, older than nation, older even than fear. It was the echo of a vow whispered long ago, a promise etched into our bones, a memory of the soul that could not be erased. One day, they will say, we were the ones who remembered how to walk again with the earth. That we put our hands in the soil and planted forest. That we rewilded landscapes long stripped of their magic. That we listened to rivers, spoke with stones, and honored the wild ones who had no voice in human courts. That we learned again the medicine of plants, the songs of the herbs, the way prayers taste when steeped in roots and leaves. One day, they will call us warriors, not because we fought with weapons, but because we refused to forget. Because we remembered that prayer is rebellion, that planting a tree is resistance, that to live with integrity when everything around you is built on lies is the fiercest form of courage.
Uh-huh.
And when those stories are told, our children's children will look up at the night sky and feel less alone. They will know the thread was never broken. Who have you come here to be? What is yours to do? What is yours to know? Find the stillness. Increase the knowing. And from there, you find your power. And so it is, and so we let it be.